Whoa. What a good first week. We're already here at week 2. This is Johnny's podcast. If you want a recap of all last week's action, look up Trent Takes. Very good work, very insightful. Here, I'll just be talking about my offensive game breakers and defensive game breakers for all the teams and my predictions for the week. First off, we have Team Reno versus Team Opium. For Team Opium, my offensive game breaker is Tevin Coleman. I believe he's the number one running back in Atlanta. I am a Falcons fan, as most of you know. Jake Long just got signed today. It's going to add depth to the offensive line, which will help him out in the long run. And we have a bunch of free agents. They're all going to be working together throughout the season. I expect better line play, which in result will be better running back play. For Team Reno, my offensive game breaker, Alfred Morris. He's going up against a tough St. Louis defense. And their quarterback play has not been stellar as of week 1. They're going to be relying on him heavily to get some work done, see if he can do it against this very tough Rams defense. On defense, Team Opium's Jamie Collins. Now, he had the highest snap count out of all Patriots linebackers in week 1 and resulted in 6 tackles, which isn't a bad outing. He's going up against a Buffalo team that likes to run the ball a lot, especially with the injury to Percy Harvin. I don't see them throwing the ball as much. I see him having a 10-plus tackle game, which could definitely result in some very positive fantasy points. And then for Team Reno, Everson Griffin. Now, he's a big name out there in Minnesota. People think he should be a Pro Bowler. He recorded half of a sack last game against the 49ers, and he already guaranteed a win this week against Detroit. He needs to prove that he's an elite player so he can get his name out there. I think that he's definitely wanting to show out this week by giving that guarantee. So it's going to be interesting to see how he plays. My winner for this game, I have Team Reno, barring that he does make some kind of changes to his roster. I don't know, Nico, if you're even watching this, but you have Sheldon Richardson in there and he's suspended. So got to make some moves to make your already good team even better. The next game, the Abdullah Express versus War Daddy. Now, for the Abdullah Express, my game breaker on offense is Brandon Coleman. Big first game for a rookie whenever you get a touchdown. Definitely get your confidence up. Going up against a weak Buccaneers team, I can see him definitely getting some more points against a struggling Bucs team. Now, for War Daddy, Andy Dalton. Andy Dalton looked great last week, but San Diego isn't a joke. They came back against Detroit, stopped Stafford. Let's see if Andy Dalton will go back to being Andy Dalton or if he can continue his great play. On defense, for the Abdullah Express, Justin Houston. Now, ESPN has calculated that Peyton Manning is one of the worst quarterbacks whenever it comes to a high blitz. That means bringing many people to blitz him. Now, Kansas City is particularly very good at doing this. And more specifically, Justin Houston is very good. I can see him having a high sack count this game, a lot of blitzes, which could equal a lot of fantasy points. And for War Daddy, I have 2 defensive game breakers, Gerald McCoy and Levante David. Now, you can blame the Buccaneers' first loss on the play of Winston, not really invigorating the team to play better, but there needs to be a leader on defense. They both signed huge contracts. Time to get your money's worth, boys. Strap up and play, or your division rival Saints are going to embarrass you, just like how you got embarrassed by the Tennessee Titans. I have the Abdullah Express winning this game. It's going to be a tough one, though, barring that all of the Abdullah Express rookies play to their potential again. Next game. The Dimsdale Moist Pigeons versus the Ben Gomez's. My offensive game breaker for the Dimsdale Moist Pigeons is Keenan Allen. He went off last week. He had 15 receptions for 166 yards. This matchup's a little bit better against the Bengals. Pac-Man Jones is no joke. Let's see if he's the truth. Let's see if this is finally his year to break out. For the Ben Gomez's, Eric Ebron finally lived up to the hype a little bit. See if this can continue. Will he thrive against his Vikings defense? It remains to be seen. I personally think that he will have a good day. Now, on defensive, for the Dimsdale Moist Pigeons, Ndamukong Suh. Little fantasy production, definitely had to be one of your higher defensive draft choices. He needs to stomp out more fantasy points. Now, for the Ben Gomez's, Joe Hayden. Mariota torched up the Buccaneers, but the Browns do have a better defense than the Buccaneers. Let's see if Joe Hayden can make this rookie quarterback throw his first interception, which then will result in a lot of fantasy points coming his way. I have the Ben Gomez's winning this game, but a few roster changes for the Dimsdale Moist Pigeons could quickly turn the tide, specifically in the running back department. Next, the Silent Assassins versus the team up north. For offensive game breakers for the Silent Assassins, Peyton Manning. A lot of people predicted that this would be his off year, and it looked to be true against the Baltimore Ravens. And he's going up against a tough Kansas City defense. They did play against a Houston team that didn't have the best offensive day. Arian Foster was out, but DeAndre Hopkins did have a very good day, which means that Demaryius Thomas could have a very good day. And for that to happen, Peyton needs to have a better day than what he had. So we'll see how that works out. For the team up north, I got to commend him on getting an excellent waiver wire pickup in Terrence Williams. Julio burnt Philly, but Terrence Williams is definitely not Julio. Let's see if this will play out the way that it could. I could see a lot of fantasy points coming. He'll definitely get targets. See if he can make the most out of them. On defense, for the Silent Assassins, Cameron Wake got a big goose egg against the Washington Redskins. Definitely disconcerting. He's one of the top defensive ends in the league, but he's going up against a weak Jaguar team. Didn't look good against Carolina. I can definitely see him upping his value and really helping out this team. For the team up north, my defensive game breaker is TJ McDonald. He's an underrated, relatively unknown safety. Very, very good player. I think that he will do very, very good against Washington. I can see him getting a pick, but we'll see. I have the team up north winning this game because the Silent Assassins suffered probably the most injuries in the entire league in week 1, which, we'll see if he can bounce back from that. Roster changes still can be made. This podcast is a little early in the week, but we'll see. Right now, the team up north looks to have this in the bag. Next, Giovanni's Rockets versus Taco Corp. My offensive game breakers for Taco Corp, Shane Vereen. It could have been Sammy Watkins, but with the injury to Percy Harvin, I do think that Sammy will bounce back. I don't think he'll put up another goose egg at all this season. If he does, then that could be a red flag, but Brendan wouldn't let anyone from Clemson ever go off his team, so we don't have to worry about that. But as far as Shane Vereen goes, the Falcons struggle against Scatbacks. I think everyone saw it Monday night whenever Darren Sproles was ripping off those ridiculous runs that had me cursing at my TV. My offensive game breaker for me is Allen Robinson. I knew I shouldn't have drafted a freaking Jaguar player. It's my own fault. It's my own grave. We'll see if he can turn it around. I hope so. I don't know. He's trade bait right now if anyone, wants to make an offer. I don't think Jaguar fans want that guy. And my defensive game breakers for Taco Corp, Patrick Peterson. He had little fantasy points. He was going up against Drew Brees. He doesn't make many mistakes, but he also didn't get many tackles or even a pass defensed. So maybe he was just locking down Cooks that hard. I don't know, but he's going up against Jay Cutler. Jay Cutler isn't very good, so maybe you can turn it around. And my defensive game breaker comes down to Mario Williams. He gave me a big goose egg. Kind of disappointing. He was one of my higher defensive draft picks, especially whenever I thought that Buffalo's defense played so well. I thought that he would have a big part in that, and I think he drawed a lot of double teams, but we'll see if he can maybe step it up. Now, if you guys will indulge me for a little bit, I'd like to take you down a path of history. In 1921, the Decatur Stanleys moved to Chicago and then a year later became the Bears. And since then, many of teams have relocated. For example, the Boston Redskins moved to Washington, D.C. in 1937. And in 1984, the Baltimore Colts moved to Indianapolis to become the Indianapolis Colts. One thing that all these teams have in common is that they respected the geographical location of their specific team and adjusted their names accordingly. Now, as some of you guys know, the New York Giants and the New York Jets play in New Jersey. So why would you call yourselves the New York Giants if you play in New Jersey? Come on, Christian. It's the Falcons-Giants game, and I felt like talking a little shit. That's it for my podcast. See you guys next week, and good luck to everyone this week.